We're back again for Instagram marketing for business owners, part two. Apparently, you guys really liked part one because my team begged me to come back for part two. So I'm back again. Very excited to be here with you guys tonight, and I've got some exciting things to share with you. I got a little carried away, as I told Paul earlier today. I got a little carried away when I was creating my slides for tonight. So we're gonna go a little bit fast to try to cover everything. But whereas some people geek out about football, or some people geek out about fashion, I geek out about digital marketing. So I got excited, and I just started adding more and more things. So I'm hoping everyone's going to learn a lot tonight. Um, I'll skip over this. Isaac already introduced me. Someone told me that they really like this picture of me, so I don't know why I keep using it. But that's me. As Isaac said, my experience is in digital marketing and analytics. Let me go ahead and pull up the chat here. I'd like to get to know you a little bit. This really helps me. It helps me to guide the conversation in a way that's most relevant to you. So if everyone wouldn't mind, I would love to hear where you're joining from. You're joining from Ghana? Are you joining from Nigeria? What part of Ghana and Nigeria? I'm joining you from Accra right now. I'm in Ghana. I would love to hear where you're joining from. We'd love to see a thumbs up if anyone has already tried running ads on Instagram. That's what we're going to be talking about tonight. So it'd be good to know if some of you have already given it a try. And then go ahead and tell us what business you're into in the chat, and share your Instagram handle. These workshops are also a chance for you to get to know other small businesses, other business owners in our network, and also a chance for you to make some connections and do some business as well. So let's see. Oh, sorry there. I got muted for a second there. Who wants to go ahead and tell us in the chat where you're joining from? I see we got some people joining from Lagos. Welcome. Anybody else? Okay, Ibadan, Kumasi in the house. Okay, great. So more people from Lagos. Excellent, you're welcome. All right, someone also in Accra, close to me. Excellent. Okay, great. Okay, Port Harcourt. Oh, well, I'm gonna butcher the name. Port Harcourt. Sorry, I wanted to go there, but I haven't made it over there yet. That's great. Kumasi, more Lagos, Ghana, excellent. You guys are all very welcome. Let's see now, thumbs up for people who have already tried running Instagram ads. Anyone already tried it? If you haven't, that's no problem. That's what we're here tonight to talk about. So no worries. Okay, cool. That's all right. Cool. All right, guys. Thanks very much. Let's go ahead and jump in. What we're going to cover today: why social ads are so important, what you can achieve with them. We're going to talk a little bit about this thing called native advertising. Then we're going to jump into a lesson on visual hierarchy. Don't worry if you don't know what that means. I didn't know what it meant until recently, but we'll talk about it. And then we'll go through some tips for how to design your ads for Instagram. And then lastly, we'll show you how to get started. We'll go through the entire process. I'll even pull up my phone. And if all goes well, we're going to start a campaign together tonight. So I think that will be really exciting. Great. More people joining from Lagos State. Someone joining from Tema. Welcome. Welcome, Seth. Okay. Excellent. All right. So to start off, let's talk a little bit about social ads and native advertising. You guys are all familiar with social media. You all probably have a Facebook account. You probably have an Instagram account. You may have other social media accounts. But what you may not know is how much time the average Ghanaian or the average Nigerian and people all over the world actually spend on these social media accounts. And the reason that's important is because when you're thinking about marketing, you need to go where your customers are. Right? You need to be where they are so you can be seen. If you go where your customers aren't, that doesn't help you at all. But if you can go where they are, then you can be seen. Then you can drive people to your business. And what the statistics are telling us is that today, people are spending a lot of time on social media. They are on social media. The average Nigerian spends 3 hours and 46 minutes per day. ranking second in the world just behind the Philippines. And the average Ghanaian spends 3 hours and 21 minutes per day on social media. Now, if you can think about the fact that we only have 24 hours in the day, I know for those of you in Lagos or in Accra, we probably spend 1 to 4 hours in traffic per day, right? So this 3, almost 4 hours a day starts to be a large percentage of the time in the day. And so that's where we need to be. We need to be on social media. We need to be where our customers are. Now, the interesting thing about social media is that it's really popularized this new type of advertising called native advertising. And if you think back to when advertising started, in the very beginning, it was someone standing on the street corner shouting. Maybe they had like some sort of megaphone or something, and they were shouting about some business or some opportunity or some discount you could have. After that, we started seeing ads in magazines or newspapers, right? And they were separated from the main content of the newspaper, which was the text. So they were displayed, right, on a separate page or in the back of the newspaper. And after that, we had the internet come about. And so we started seeing what we call display ads. So a banner at the top of a page on a website, right? We started seeing these display ads. And what's happened in the last few years is that people have started to get annoyed, let me put it that way, with all this advertising that they're seeing everywhere. And so, and they've gotten smarter. They've developed ad blockers, and they've developed and they've learned how to scroll past those first 3 items on Google. And so that really caused a dip in the number of clicks that people were getting. And so though we got smarter as consumers, the advertisers got smarter as well. And so they came up with this thing called native advertising. And native advertising is an ad that's shown to you in such a way that you don't really realize it's an ad. So if you think about when you're scrolling through your social media feed, the ads that you see, they look a lot like the content that you're seeing, a post from a friend, a post from a colleague. They look very similar. And the only way you can really tell is if there's that word sponsored underneath, or if there's a call to action at the bottom. And what advertisers found is that, I'm kind of going off on a tangent a little bit, but what advertisers found is that native ads are 53% more frequently, I think I'm missing a word there. They're more frequently viewed than display ads. Right? And so native advertising has become very, very effective. And so that's why this whole social ads concept that we're talking about tonight is so important. All right, great. So we're jumping into our next topic, a lesson in visual hierarchy. What does visual hierarchy mean? Basically, it means the way that you organize the text or the imagery or the space on a particular piece of content, right? For example, what we're talking about tonight, an ad graphic, the picture that you include in your social ad. And why this is important is because what people don't realize is you can actually influence what people read or see first when they look at your ad. Right? If you just throw something up there, you're not really using everything you have at your disposal to use. And people's eyes actually follow predictable patterns. Unless you're in maybe the Middle East or in certain few countries, people read left to right and top to bottom. That's the way their eyes go, right? So if I'm reading anything on a phone, on a laptop, in a newspaper, in a magazine, I'm going to read left to right and I'm going to read top to bottom. That's the way my eyes go. And we'll talk about why that's important in a second. And the other thing that's important to pay attention to, and we're going to go through each of these one by one, is size differences, color, spacing, alignment, and contrast. And all of these things can help you design your ad in such a way that it will get the most attention. And that's what we want to do, right? We want to get those eyeballs. So let's jump through these one by one. So the first is, well, first a couple tips before we jump into those last things. I want to just hit home on this point that you can influence what people see first. If you look at the left, the image on the, I guess is it my left? Is it yours? Is left as well? I don't know if it's your left or right, but the one on the left where the text is all the same size. your eyes don't really jump to one thing or another, right? You go top to bottom. You read, okay, header text, subheader text goes here, blah, 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 blah. But if you look at the image on the right, your eyes immediately go to header text. Biggest text is there. Then they go to subheader text, right? Because it's orange, it's standing out. And then you probably skip over that paragraph and you go right to call to action. And call to action is what we want, right? We want people to take that action. So the way you put things in an ad or on a page of your website or anywhere, you can influence what people look at first. You want them to look at the short message, what you want them to understand, and the call to action. Right? Those are the most important things, because you don't need them to take the time to read that paragraph if they don't need to, right? If they're okay with just reading that header text and then clicking the call to action, that's great. That's exactly what we want, right? Now, if someone needs more information, of course, there's the paragraph there. The other thing is this predictable patterns that I mentioned earlier. So there's a couple of ways that you can arrange things on an ad, right? In such a way that it follows the specific patterns that our eyes are used to. And there's the Z pattern, and then there's the F pattern, right? So they look exactly like you see on the screen. One's in the shape of a Z, one's in the shape of an F. And these have been known to be the two best ways to organize content on an ad, because this is the way that our eyes tend to go. This is the way that our eyes tend to read text or images. Okay, so size matters. So this is our first one, right? The size of the text or the size of the image, you want your most important thing to be the biggest, right? And you want it to be top and left, right? Because that's the first place our eyes go. We start at the top and we start at the left. And if it's the biggest, then our eyes are also drawn to that. So you can see on the left, header text, it's the biggest. On the right is a real example of our eyes are drawn to vanilla orange, and our eyes are drawn to the image itself, right? And so that's an example of how you can use size to craft your ad graphic. Color also matters, right? If you look at the image on the left, our eyes are drawn to that orange text, that header text. And then our eyes are also drawn to the call to action. What I said earlier, read the header text, call to action, right? The blue and the paragraph, it all kinds of blends together, so our eyes don't really even notice it as much. On the right, you have gold, right? The heading is gold. You can see that the background behind the people on the graphic is a different color than that black and gold on the other side. So that provides some contrast, which we'll talk about later. But you can use colors in such a way that you make things stand out. Spacing, this is one that people don't realize. I didn't realize it at first either. Your most important item or your most important text on an ad graphic should have the most space around it. Why? Because space around something indicates importance. If header text, for example, on the image on the left is separated from the stuff on the bottom, we know it's important because it's all over there by itself. The bliss looks like some kind of oil or something. You can see that there's a lot of space around that product because we want people to look at the product first, front and center. So spacing matters. Alignment also matters. Again, talking about the predictable patterns, the way people's eyes go. If everything is aligned in the same direction, we're going to go top to bottom, left to right. If something is separated completely differently, as you can see with the image on the left, header text is completely by itself on the left, then we'll read that first because it stands out to us. But if everything is aligned in one same pattern, we're going to follow our typical patterns of top to bottom, left to right. So alignment is also important to look at. And lastly, contrast. You can use color, you can use font, you can use spacing like we talked about earlier. You can use imagery to provide that contrast, right? So there's a big difference between on the left, there's a big difference between the gray background with the white text and the white background with the gray text and orange call to action button. So if you pay attention to the contrast, right, there's a sharp difference between gray and white. Or in the example on the right, there's a sharp difference between red and black. There's a sharp difference between this image of the truck and the black background. So think about how contrast also plays into this, that allows you to make the things you want to stand out in your graphics. Okay, that's your lesson on visual hierarchy. I hope you learned something. This is all very new to me. When I started doing digital marketing, I was creating ads, and I was just creating things that I thought looked good, and not thinking about the fact that we are all humans and we all have certain behaviors that we're used to, and certain patterns that we used to. Top to bottom, left to right. Look for the biggest things. Look for the most colorful things. And so this stuff is all really important, and we're going to talk about some similar things when we talk about these 7 tips for Instagram app design. I want to encourage everyone, if you have questions at any point in time, there'll be 10 minutes for questions at the end, but go ahead and put them in the chat. If I see them pop up, I am monitoring the chat. I'll try to answer them on the go as well. Okay. All right. So let's jump in then to how do we use this lesson we've just learned about visual hierarchy? How do we take that and we apply it to Instagram ads? And I've got some specific tips here that we'll go through one by one in terms of Instagram ads. All right. First one, use simple design to stand out. Sometimes people think, or they get into the habit of trying to create this intricate, crazy, beautiful ad, right? But sometimes what works the best is just simple. Let's take a look at this example. Very simple header text: summer sale, save $200, and an image of one of the products that they're selling, that nice looking desk. That's it. Nothing crazy about that. A very simple heading and a very simple image with a lot of space around that product. And then they even went simple in the caption: 5 stars. That's it. No words in the caption, just 5 stars. And you can't see, but the article I got this ad from, they made like, I think it was like $1 million off of this ad, of people being driven to their online store and buying their products using a very simple ad like this. So sometimes simple is better than intricate or complex, most of the time, actually. Lastly, or not lastly, hey, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Bright colors. We talked a little bit about this earlier when we talked about visual hierarchy. We saw the orange text, right? There's a reason why at night, when people are going for a run or they're riding their bicycle, they wear bright green or bright yellow or bright red. There's a reason why the lights on the back of cars are bright red, because our eyes are drawn to those bright colors, right? And so it's important, if you want your ad to stand out, to think about, doesn't have to be every time, because there's other ways to make your ad stand out, but one way to make your ad stand out is to use a bright color. So in the example, they use that bright orange color in the background. I hope it's orange. I hope I'm not colorblind. I think it's orange. And then they have their product on top of that bright orange. And you've taken a really simple, almost bland product, socks, right? A white sock. That's about as standard as you can possibly go. And it's, well, it says right there, colorful standard. And you put it on top of an orange background, all of a sudden it stand out. All of a sudden people are looking at it. They're saying, oh, well, what's cool about these socks? Right? Because our eyes are attracted to bright colors. So this is also important. Thirdly, I always say, if you're selling a product, even if you're selling a service, although if you're selling a service, it's a little bit harder to do, unless maybe it's like an app like ours where you can show the app screen. But if you're selling a product, your product should be front and center. You want people to buy your product, right? And so, especially if you have nice packaging like this Truly drink, you want it to be front and center. You want people to see it. They shouldn't have to click in, click a bunch of times, go to another page before they can see the product that you want them to buy. Keep your product front and center. Okay? So this is important too. This one, let's see. I don't know if the video will work, but let's try. I want to show you guys this video, because the next tip is, here it is. The next tip is, let's go back to it here. Make videos that move. Right? hands down, the best type of ad is a video. Now, not everyone can has the skills to create a video, although it's become much easier. I encourage everyone to go ahead and try. You just use your smartphone, create a little video, and see how it works. But videos are known to be the most effective ads, right? And what's even better is if you can create a video that moves. And I want to show you what I mean by that by playing this video. So let's. I don't know if anyone remembers this trend. It's the trend of people kicking off the top of a bottle. So let's go ahead and play this video and see. I don't know if the sound is coming through for you guys, but I don't know if that's real. I don't know if he actually was able to do that. Maybe this is a doctored video, but regardless, the video was moving, right? As you were watching it, you could see that the video was moving. So that also gets people's attention, right? Because we see movement, our eyes are attracted to movement. Number 5, make your text pop. This is kind of about the spacing thing we talked about earlier, right? If there's a bunch of imagery around your header text, then it's less likely to be noticed, it's less likely to stand out. You can see that there's nothing around the text in here, this meditation app called Headspace. And what they wanted people to see is 28% less sad and 10 days, right? And so they didn't put anything around. They added enough space around that header text so that our eyes were drawn to it automatically. All right, 2 more to go. Put your captions to work. We talked a little bit about this in the previous workshop, but you can get creative with your captions and have them do something for you. So let's look at this example. We need your opinion, get rewarded, money bags, right? Everyone wants money, simply for sharing your thoughts. Now that's creative, right? Because people are going to put a comment and then they're going to expect to, I mean, you might have to actually pay them money, right? but people are willing to share their thoughts, give feedback for even the smallest amount of money, right? So there's other things you can do even that don't involve money where you can get creative with your caption and encourage people to take the action that you want them to take. All right, lastly, this is mostly for product companies. It could be for service companies too, but showing off your range. For example, this company has a bunch of different shirts, and you can use those carousel ads or posts to show off the different colors that you have, right? Because not everyone needs the same product. Not everyone wants the same color of the product. Not everyone needs the same service. Not everyone needs the same type of service, right? And so if you can use that carousel ad to show the most popular ones or the most important ones, people then have options. People like to have options. They want to be able to choose what's best for them, right? So this is what I mean by show off your range. Okay, excellent. So now comes the fun part. We're going to go ahead and get started with Instagram ads. So I'm gonna go through the process, just screens real quickly, and then I'm gonna pull up my phone, and we're gonna start a campaign together. So I talked about this a little bit in the last workshop, but the way you get to Instagram ads is you go to your profile and you click on Add Tools. After that, you'll see the Add Tools screen where you can pick your top post to promote or choose a different post. So that's how you get started. There are different types of Instagram ads, just like there's different types of Instagram posts. You can do carousel ads, you can do just one photo, you can do video, you can do shopping posts. If anyone has explored the Instagram store, you can do that. And you can even do stories. So if you're a fan of Instagram stories, you've been using them a lot, you can do that as well. So those are the different types. You can scroll all the way back in your history. You can even use these filters at the top to select a year. If you know you did this great post last year, you can go back and pull that one out. And then there's also the eligible filter there, ones that are eligible and ones that aren't eligible. Okay. Now this is where we get into the details. I don't know if I call this the hard part. I think the hard part is the part that we talked about in the beginning, is creating the ad itself, creating the content. For me, that's the hard part. Although, as a digital marketer, I probably shouldn't be saying that. Digital marketing is one of the most sought after positions right now. And the digital marketers not only have to understand the first part, but also how to use these tools and how to optimize the campaigns. So this is also very important. But Instagram has actually really simplified this. In Facebook Business Manager, Facebook Ads Manager is a little bit more complicated, but it's quite it's been quite simplified here in the Instagram on the Instagram mobile app. So we'll go through each of these together as we do them a little bit later. But these are the different parts. You select a goal. Do you want to drive people to your website? Do you want to drive people to visit your profile? Or do you want people to message you? You want them to message you in Instant Messenger, right? Then you set your budget. And it's usually a daily budget. So how much do you want to spend in a day? You can even choose your own, which I'll show you later. Then you can select the target audience. Now, what a lot of people do is they just do automatic, which may or may not be great for you. What automatic does is it targets people like your followers. So Facebook and Instagram's lookalike algorithms are very powerful. And so if the type of people that you really want to buy your products are already following your page, then this is great. If they're not, then I would encourage you to try create your own audience. And I'll show you how to do that in a second here. Okay. Insights. If you haven't explored Insights, this is not only about ads, but also about your posts. There's lots of cool things that you can see here. You can see number of likes, number of comments, number of messages sent, number of bookmarks per each individual post. You can see the total number of people reached, and you can see a breakdown of your audiences by gender, by age, and by location. So this is all really cool stuff, and we'll look at that in the app a little bit later too. Okay, so let's jump into the activity then. I'm going to pull up my phone. Okay, there it is. Phone screen mirroring, start now. And there it is. Okay, so here's my phone. Let me just make sure it's in the center here. So I'm covering up that as the background. Okay, so let's jump into Instagram. Okay, so now, as I said earlier, where do we start? Anyone want to put in the anyone want to put in the chat? How do we get to Instagram ads? It's somewhere on this screen. That's your hint. Anybody know which button we should click to get to Instagram ads? Is it edit profile, contact, insights, ad tools? Probably ad tools, right? Okay, excellent. Okay. So now we can either promote top post or choose a post. So what I'm going to do tonight is choose a post so you guys can see how to do that. I click choose a post. Now I can pick any of our posts in the past here. I can use these filters. Maybe I want to see just carousel posts. And it pops up the carousel posts. Let me go back to all. I can use years, posts that we've done in the last 1 year. I can filter that. That didn't seem to work. Maybe it's 1 year ago. Last 7 days, yeah. Okay, so that's good. And then eligible or ineligible. Okay, so those are the different filters. Let me make sure. Okay, great. So what we're going to do is, okay, and you can also go back and forth between posts and stories. So you can see at the bottom here, there's posts and stories. Okay. Ineligible, eligible. I must have a filter on somewhere. What happened to my posts? 1 second, guys. Add tools, choose a post. Must be a bug in the Instagram app. Let me pull it back up. Let's try to start over here. Okay. Add tools. Choose a post. And we're back. Okay, great. All right, so let's go ahead and pick a post. I'm just going to pick this first one. Do you know how much you lose by not tracking your business records? Can everyone see that well enough? I was curious if anyone can tell me what we did right with this graphic based on what you learned tonight. What did we do right with this graphic? Anyone have any thoughts? Based on what we learned tonight, there was a bunch of tips, there was visual hierarchy, some things that we learned. Can you put it in the chat? What's something that we learned that we did well with this post here? Anybody have thoughts? Oop, my screen. Okay, no problem. Well, I'll tell you. Okay, we got fonts, boldness. Good. Anybody have other thoughts? Text stands out. Excellent. That's right. There's a fair amount of space around our main text. We talked about spacing earlier. Color. Yeah, two people saying color. You know, that's exactly right, and I'll tell you why. Because some people are probably looking at this. This is black and white. What do you mean? Black and white stands out, right? If you're scrolling through your social media feed and you're seeing all these colors, and then all of a sudden you see a black and white ad, it really does stand out, especially when you use bold like this. Though maybe you don't think of black and white as color, when you use color effectively like this, even if you're doing black and white, it can work. Middle, yeah. So you can see that in terms of the alignment, right? You have this text all by itself on the left, and then the image on the right. So it really stands out. Cool. Okay, excellent. Thanks very much, everyone. That's super helpful. I'm glad you've learned some things. So let's continue then. We're creating the promotion. First thing we need to do is select a goal. So I'm going to go ahead and choose more messages. We want people to talk to us, more messages. Now, here's the interesting part. I want to show you guys how to create your own audience. Like I mentioned earlier, you can just choose that automatic audience, but let's create our own audience. So I click this button at the bottom here, create your own. Now, I have a specific pattern that I use to name my audience. So we'll come back to that at the end, but you do need to name your audience. So first thing I want to choose is the location. Okay. So now there's regional or local locations. So you can see I'm in Accra. And so you can actually pick a specific location, which is kind of creepy in a way, but also kind of cool. And you can choose the radius around that location that you want to advertise in. So if you're a more of a local shop, right? You don't really need, if you're, let's say you're in Accra, you don't really, and maybe you're not selling online, or you're not shipping to other places, you're really just selling locally, then you don't need to show ads to people that aren't right around you, right? So maybe you only need that 5-mile radius. Or maybe you want to sell, maybe you're regional, you ship regionally, then you can expand that mileage right around where you are and do it that way. That's really easy. So that's an interesting way to do it. The other way to do it is to use this regional tab and type in the location that you want. So let's say I want to show ads to the city that I haven't been to yet that I want to go to, Port Harcourt. And yep, it pops up right here. So I select it. Okay, great. Now, sometimes the estimated audience side will pop up at the top, and sometimes it doesn't. I'm not sure why. Maybe there hasn't been a lot of data from this city specifically. So maybe let's try a different one, just so I can show you guys that. Let me just pick Legos. Estimated audience size is still not popping up. Normally that should pop up at the top. It should tell you the number of people. So let's go ahead and just accept it and see if that pops up later. Oh, okay, there it is. I just had to accept it. So let's go back. I want to do my city that I need to go to. Port. Cool. Okay. I select it and accept. Excellent. So I can see that there are 985,000 to 1 million people. That's my potential audience. Right now, that's a lot of people. And that's just everyone that's in that location, right? So we need to drill down further and try to target the people that we think are most likely to buy our product or service. So we can do that by using interests and age. So let's do age first since it's easy. Maybe your product is specifically targeting people from age 18 to 25. Or maybe you're targeting an older population. Maybe 57 to 63. So you can pick who you want, and you can see that that audience size changes based on what you see there. So let's go ahead and leave this a little bit more open. I'm going to just say 18 to 55. That's what I typically do. Okay, and save. Oh, and also here is gender, right? Maybe you're selling a product that's for females, or maybe you're selling a product that's for males, or maybe you just think that male or females are more likely to buy your product or service. Then maybe you only target them. So these are things for you to think about. I'm going to leave them all here. Now, where it gets really interesting is interests. Okay, think about what the people who are most likely to buy your product or service are interested in. For us, we have a business app, right? So we want to target people who are interested in business. So I could just type business here and select it. And you can see it reduces the audience size. So we're now targeting people in Port Harcourt who are also interested in business, who are between the ages of 18 to 55, right? So let's pick something else. Let's say maybe you're a fashion company, right? And you want to target people who are interested in fashion. You have different kinds of interests, right? You have fashion and style, fashion blog, fashion bloggers, men's fashion if you're targeting specifically men, and you can go ahead and select that. Let's see, sometimes it takes a second. There we go, and it reduces the audience size, right? So people in Port Harcourt who are interested in men's fashion, and now, just to be clear, this is not everyone who's interested in men's fashion. It's just people who are on Instagram, right? Who you can actually target, who you can show your ads to. 18,000 to 18,900. Right? So because we are on our account, I'm going to put business back in here so we can actually start this campaign and see how it does. So I'm going to select business. And so there we have it. So now the way I would typically name the audience is if you're not a multinational company, you don't need to worry about countries. But for us, since we serve both Nigeria and Ghana, I'm going to put NG here, and then dash the locality, so Port Harcourt, and then I put interest business. So that way, when you're looking back, and I'll show you how to do this, when you're looking back at all your campaigns and seeing how well they did, you can see that, oh, when I targeted this specific locality and I used this specific interest, it did well. When I targeted this other locality and this specific interest, it didn't do well. And so you know not to do that going forward. So that's why I do it that way. That's why it's important to name your audience something that makes sense, that will jog your memory, so you don't have to go back into the campaign and look specifically at the parameters that were selected. So let's select it here. Once we've selected our audience, we click next. And then we select our budget. So you can see the estimated reach, the number of people where your ad will show up in their feed. That's what reach is. So it's not necessarily people that click on it, right? That's something different. But reach is the number of people that you can reach. It's going to show up in their feed at some point, right? So choose daily budget. Maybe we just want to do $2. We're just starting out on Instagram ads. We want to give it a try. And we want to try it for, let's just say, 5 days. So at the top, it shows you exactly how much you're going to spend for exactly how long, and it's going to show you your estimated reach. So with this budget, we're going to show up in at least 3,100 people's feeds. Now, whether or not they click on it or not, that's a different story. That comes back to the stuff that we talked about in the beginning. Did you create a good ad? Do you have a good call to action? But this is what you're able to see here. So I click next. You have a chance to review all the parameters that you selected in your ad. And then let's go ahead and just do it together. Oh, well, first you'll need to select your payment method. We have our card attached here. And then we'll go ahead and click boost post. It says, nice work. Your promotion has been sent for review. Instagram likes to review the promotion for a little bit. Right before it posts, looks like 24 hours, some cases longer, but normally 24 hours. Normally what we see is that's even faster than that. And you click OK. So I think I'm already over my time. But let me show you quickly how to go back and look and see how your campaigns did. So we'll go to Add Tools, and we'll go to Past Ads. And you can see here our previous ads that we ran. You can see that they were completed, and we can look at specific insights for that ad, right? So we can see this ad that we ran. We got 1,229 likes, 15 comments, profile visits, website taps, email button taps. So there's a lot of really cool metrics and insights that you can review here after you run an ad to see. We can see that 62% of the people who clicked on the ad or did a like were women. Age range, mostly 25 to 34. Lego state. So if I'm seeing that most of the people who are interacting with my ad are between the ages of 25 and 34, then maybe I don't target people who aren't in that age group anymore. Right? So that's how you go back and review the ads. All right, I'm going to take a second to take a breath. Please, I love, the best part of this is when I can answer questions for you. So please put your questions in the chat so that I can jump into some questions, and then I'll hand it back over to Isaac. Thanks everyone for your attention so far. Any questions? There was a question earlier around what a carousel ad is. So let me, I just can show you real quickly. Let's see which one of these is carousel. For example, this one. Carousel ad just means that you can swipe and see multiple pictures. Right. So this one was our winner of our giveaway that we did. And so we had a little graphic in the beginning, posted the video that she did, and then posted a little bit about her products and her business. And so that's a carousel ad when you can swipe and see multiple pictures. All right, is the audience IG provides all on IG already? Yes. So the different types of audiences, if we go back to choose a post, next, more messages. So everything that you can use to create an audience is already in here, right? So I've spent a lot of time actually, if I click create my own, going through these interests and just typing to see what I can find. So you can, whatever it is you think your customers are interested in, or anything that's about your business, or even it's not specifically about your business, maybe it's a compliment. A lot of times we target people who are interested in WhatsApp. Because we think people who are likely interested in WhatsApp are maybe interested in our business app because they're already interested in WhatsApp. So spend some time typing in this interest, seeing what will pop up, And when you click on it, go and see what the audience size is and see if it's big enough for that it makes sense for you to target. Sometimes they're really small and maybe that doesn't make sense. But sometimes, even if they are small, if it's really aligned with your product or service, then that's a great thing to target. So that's what I would say about the audiences. What else? Reina, okay, she completely understood and enjoyed. Oh, that's very nice to hear. Thanks very much for that. I'm glad you understood. I always hope that people will take at least 3 things home with them at the end of the night. So that's great. Other questions? Can you recommend tools, apps to manage Instagram? Sure. I think if I get the question right is sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming or a little bit hard to be consistent. And one of the most important things when it comes to social media is to be consistent, to be consistently in front of your customers. Because of the marketing rule of 7, people need to have 6 touch points with you before on the 7th time they actually take that action. There are several tools you can use to schedule posts, right? So for example, our social media and community manager uses a tool called HubSpot, which is a CRM tool, and she schedules posts out in advance. So that way you're not in the moment every day, 3 times a day, having to try to create these posts on the spot and send them out. So I would encourage you to look at some of these social media scheduler tools. Some of them even include recommendations on type of content that you should use, even include analytics. Some of the ones that I can think of off the top of my head are Hootsuite, Buffer. There's one that has like an octopus logo. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but the most well-known ones are Hootsuite and Buffer. Now they aren't free, right? So make sure that you're ready to invest in social media as a strategy, and make sure that you're ready to take that next step. Other questions? Okay, great. Isaac, over to you.
Thank you very much, Dave. That was an insightful session. We, as I said, we always are grateful for the exposure you've given us and then the details you've given us as well. So if we are not learning anything, we know that as business owners, we are not going to throw anything out there. We are minding the size, color, spacing, alignment of our content. And then if we can create videos, that's fine. But I like this part because people have faced instances. There's a classical example where somebody posted, there was an ad of a microwave, and then a customer ordered it. Now the business owner had to face a situation because she was saying that she's rejecting the order because the microwave didn't come with the grilled chicken that was in the picture. So she's not going to take it. So I'm sure if the business owner was able to space correctly, he wouldn't have given the impression of selling the microwave that comes with the grilled chicken. So we are taking this. And then next, I'd like to introduce everybody to the OZ app. I'm sure there are users here, but the OZ app helps you to record sales and expenses and allows you to also know your cash balance. You get reports that's on your business performance on a daily basis, weekly and monthly. So in order not to get too saddled with a notebook, a calculator, having to sit down for long calculations, the OZ app helps you to do that. So my colleague is going to share the link in the space. You can click download and then trust me to get a call the following day to introduce you to the OZ app and then how to use the app as well. The business coaches are always available. We also run demo sessions, and that's Wednesday, 4 p.m. Ghana time, and then 5 p.m. Nigeria time, Wednesdays and Fridays weekly. So you can take advantage of this.